Hello. In this video, I'm going to share some information about online discussions with you. And I'm going to do this by demonstrating an effective use of discussions in a class that has already occurred, which is English 372, Topics in Pop Culture, which related to reading and writing baseball. So this class was taught by Jack Bushnell in the accelerated 3-week summer format, completely online. So here's what his discussions page looks like. When you come in here, the top item is the introductions, and he customized a little bit to include their relationship to baseball and what they're doing this summer, since it's a summer class. On the next topic here is general questions about content or technology. So this is just a general Q&A discussion forum where the students can post any questions that they have, and they can also come and reply to each other as well. This type of a discussion is recommended to avoid excessive email with you because they can all see each other's questions. So if they have the same questions, they can come here and see that other people have already asked it and what the answer is. And then if they have questions about personal matters or grading, then they can email you individually. So here's where the topical discussions begin in this class. And there are quite a few because the discussion was 25% of his grade. So here's the Module 2 discussions and then Module 3. And you can see that he has 2 that he created ahead of time, and then for each module he created a follow-up discussion question because he wanted to see where the students went with the discussion on their own, and then he wanted to kind of reserve the right to write another question based on what happened in the previous discussions and maybe if they didn't get where he wanted them to go in the other ones. So he wrote these as the class was going on, but he had the first 2 for each module already written. And one thing to note is that they were all required to post their initial response and then reply to at least 2 other students with a substantial question or comment, not just a good job type of post. So let's dig into one of the discussions and see what happened. So when you click on a discussion, you see the prompt again at the top of the screen. And I'm in the default view right now, which means it says no message selected because I haven't clicked on one yet. So when I click on one, then it's viewable here. So if we drag this down and we scroll down over here, you can see all of the posts at a glance in this discussion forum. I really like this view because you can see the initial posts and then underneath are the replies to that post. So here's another initial post by Amanda and the replies here. And they're posted in the order where the newest is at the top here. These are the things that you really want to see in a robust online discussion. So this is Samantha's initial post, and these are all of the replies. So they keep going in because people keep replying. So this means that they're getting at some level of depth here. And this baseball is life thread looks good too. I mean, I can't guarantee from just a glance that it's quality, but what you want to see in an online discussion is some back and forth like this. So this is the whole discussion. I think there were about 12 students in this class. Now over here on the right side, you can see who posted, but you can see how often Jack is involved in the discussion. This is what I want to point out here. So Jack is posting enough so that they know that he's there. He's not taking over. He's involved in some threads more than others, but he's jumping in with his expert experience and letting them discuss among themselves when they can. So let's look at some of Jack's replies in here. So this is a nice one where he just provides some positive feedback to this student about her post. This is a nice one where he's providing a little bit of clarification and elaboration on someone's post. And then down here he's doing a nice job of asking some additional questions. What do you mean by that? And you can see that James did respond, and then Jack responded again. Stephen jumped in, and then here's Jack again. So he keeps prompting the students in this thread. So he's really keeping this thread alive with his replies here. There he is again. So here he's also asking some really nice follow-up questions to get them to dig deeper into this discussion. So in this post, what Jack is doing is providing the students with a little bit of coaching. This is the second discussion in the class, and it's very important in the first couple of discussions to set the stage for what you want the students to be doing. They may not know how to conduct an online discussion. They could certainly be new to this format. So Jack is nicely pointing out some people who did really well in this discussion and why he thought they did well. So that is a great thing to do to help the students succeed. So this is a different discussion forum, and this is kind of a fun post from Jack. He wrote, "This is a good day," and he's providing some general feedback to the students here about how awesome they're doing in the discussion and why. So this is really showing the students that he's present and he's getting in his teaching in the online environment here. Now in this forum, which is the very first one of the class, he has written his comments, read and respond. And he is saying specifically he wants them to read what he's written in here and reply to 2 of the comments in here. So his feedback is quite intense right within the discussion forum itself. And you can see, hopefully, all the students responded in here. And one thing that I really like about Jack's comments in here is that he's not writing overly formally. He's writing kind of like he would speak, so he's keeping it more like a conversation in here, which is a really nice way to use the discussion because he also has essays in his class, and that's where they get in the more formal writing. This is meant to simulate a face-to-face discussion from his class. Okay, so let's recap what made Jack's discussion successful. Well, first, he had good questions for them to reply to. In his class, there was a lot of discussion fodder that he used in his face-to-face, so he translated that to online. His questions were specific, but they had a lot of options within them for the students to reply to, and he often asked why in the questions. Remember that they might not know how to participate in an online discussion, so they might need some coaching. So Jack did that by pointing out 2 students who did particularly well in one of the early discussions and then pointed out what was good about their posts. Now Jack got into the discussion enough that they knew he was there and he was prompting them, but he didn't take over either. So the rule of thumb is that the instructor's post should be about 10 to 15% of the posts on the discussion board. Don't feel like you need to write particularly formally in the discussion because it is a discussion rather than an essay. So it's nice to try to simulate face-to-face discussion by writing a little bit more like you talk than you would in an essay. And finally, remember that you can be a little bit flexible with online discussions. Jack had 2 questions in each module ready to go when the class began, and then for each module he would have 1 follow-up question that was based on what had already occurred in the discussion and what still needed to happen.